but they're all here, from worst to god-awful. So sit back and lower your standards, because here are the 50 worst movies ever made.
He dares to enter the street dressed in the clothes he so much desires to wear. Glenn is engaged to be married to Barbara. Glenn's problem is a deep one, but he must tell her soon. She's begun to notice things. Soon she will realize.
Starting the list is a film that was not only written and directed by the notorious Ed Wood, but a film he also starred in, as a transvestite, which also happened to be an activity he pursued in real life. A masterpiece that dared to delve closer to the heart of cross-dressing than any other in film history, by using cinema tricks like gluing fake articles onto real newspapers. From 1953, Glenn, or Glenda. When The Mesa of Lost Women was released, a new school of acting was introduced to the world. The School of Bad Acting.
Oh, we've arrived.
I trust your journey was pleasant.
Well, moderately. I must confess, though, that I was a trifle uneasy when your driver headed into the Muerto Desert. But everything seems to have worked out. I want to fly.
You want to?
I've always wanted to fly. And now I will.
And pay careful attention to the right of the screen, where Dr. Masterson, played exquisitely by Harmon Stevens, conceals his excitement. Jackie Coogan also shines as Dr. Aranya, the crazy scientist determined to create a master race of superwomen by injecting them with spider venom. But that also entailed having to create dwarves and giant spiders, too.
Wendy! Didn't you hear Mommy calling you, honey?
No, Mommy.
From the deep, dark recesses of 1986 comes the movie Troll. The plot is simple. Turok, the aforementioned troll, uses his magic emerald ring to turn the residents of an apartment complex into hideous plant pods, so it feels kinda like home. The only redeeming value Troll has is its cameo appearance by Sonny Bono and Julia Louis-Dreyfus's breakthrough film performance years before Seinfeld made her a TV star. And that ain't much.
It's Daddy! It's Daddy!
The 47th worst film of all time is Teenage Zombies, a technically awful, horribly acted, steamy pile of cinema. This 1959 gem is also the first of many laughable horror films to use a man in a gorilla suit as either an evil henchman, or a zombie, or a maniac, or simply just a gorilla.
Teenagers?
Help!
Why didn't Phyllis Diller and Jane Mansfield make more films together, you ask?
She knows too much, Herman. She must be destroyed.
When I turn this knob, her fate will be sealed, and our secret will be safe forever!
This is why, from 1965, The Fat Spy.
Boy, this is some picture!
Beware, it's Voodoo Woman. Deep in the jungles of somewhere, a mad scientist uses voodoo magic to make an indestructible slave thing. But the plot thickens like a meaty stew left out in the sun.
I want that money so bad that every time I close my eyes I can see it.
There's a treasure involved, with an array of characters like Chaka, the witch doctor, Bobo, the houseboy, and a hero named Touch Connors. It's 1957's Voodoo Woman.
What have you done?
I mean, what have I done? What, are you blaming this on me?
Yes.
The 44th worst film of all time is the box office bomb, Ishtar.
Hello, Ishtar, you're more than a country.
I put a price of 20,000 dirham on their heads this afternoon.
Even though Warren Beatty and Dustin Hoffman starred in this financial flop, it would still prove to be the end of a career for its director, Elaine May.
He's aiming at us. Will you stop me? Paranoid! Run!
Even now, nearly 20 years after its release, Ishtar has barely made back half of its $40 million budget.
And the world joins in.
It seems Warren and Dustin felt there was a longing for another road picture like the ones Bob Hope and Bing Crosby used to make 30 years prior.
We're off on the road to Morocco. This taxi is tough on the spine.
It appears Warren and Dustin were wrong. Real wrong.
A gigantic, man-like creature appears.
When Frankenstein's heart is stolen from Germany, shipped to a lab in Japan, and then exposed to radiation from the Hiroshima bombing of World War II, then eaten by a strangely mutated boy who grows at a rapid pace, you're left with 1965's Frankenstein Conquers the World. A Japanese film with an entire Japanese cast and one white guy, Nick Adams.
Well, I feel he's very important from a scientific point of view.
I'd have to cut off a leg or an arm.
Doctors, I won't let you conduct this test.
The original climactic ending had Frankenstein fighting Godzilla, but the director thought that was too hard to believe. So Frankenstein just ends up fighting a vague reptilian giant monster to the death. When Arthur Nelson made his producing, directing, editing, and acting debut in The Creeping Terror, he convinced several investors that he was making a big-budget horror film. And for just a few $100s, these investors could not only have small parts in the film, but share in the profits after its release.
My God, what is it?
Just before the release of The Creeping Terror in 1964, Arthur Nelson vanished, with several lawsuits hanging over him. He hasn't been heard from since. And if you're wondering why there's no dialogue between actors throughout most of the film, it's because the director, producer, editor, actor Arthur Nelson accidentally knocked the sound recording equipment into Lake Tahoe and couldn't afford to buy a new microphone. He narrated the entire movie in post-production.
At this very moment, KID-TV has standing by a television crew at Santa Claus Workshop.
When the children of Mars become depressed and dismal, there's only one thing to do.
We need a Santa Claus on Mars.
Earth has had Santa Claus long enough. We will bring him to Mars.
I'm against it.
From 1964, Santa Claus Conquers the Martians. Full of breathtaking special effects.
Turn off that decoration!
Plus, horrible acting, coupled with a freeze ray gun that's really just a whammo toy painted silver.
You can't take him now. It's too near Christmas.
Quiet, you.
But...
And strange, surreal scenes like this.
Hello there.
And if all that's not enough, Santa Claus Conquers the Martians also has a young Pia Zadora in her film debut as Gurmar, the Girl Martian.